Dieting is unhealthy. Years of research demonstrate that for most people, dieting does not lead to sustained weight loss. Rigid dieting patterns are bad for physical health because if you eat too little or too one-sidedly over a longer period of time, you will not get enough nutrients. In addition, most weight loss diets are only focused at losing weight and not at learning a healthy diet. This will ensure that you gain back your old weight as soon as you stop the diet and you will feel miserable, so your mental health may suffer too. I'm a psychologist and therapist and I make videos on psychology and mental health. Recently, I was looking into modern research on emotional eating and dieting, and I came across the concept of intuitive eating. Supporters of this theory indicate that intuitive eaters binge eat less emotionally and more optimistic, and have better self-esteem. Sounds nice, isn't it? Many popular articles started with just eat whatever you want, whenever you want. Don't worry about good or bad foods. I thought a piece of cake for breakfast every day will definitely not keep your heart healthy. But after looking deeper into it, I saw that there is some potential as well. So, is it worth the hype? Let's just take a closer look at this subject. The intuitive eating approach has become popular in the past couple of years, but the concept is not very new. In 1995, a book about intuitive eating was published by two US dietitians. In this book, they promoted an eating style that contradicts everything that has to do with diets. In short, eat when you are hungry and stop when you are full. Snacking is allowed. Cakes, sweets, fries, it's all allowed. You can eat what you want and when you want without guilt. The authors call the approach an anti-diet, which is all about regaining a healthy relationship with food and your body, regardless of your body weight. The problem is that being overweight is much more complex than eating too much. One of the underlying mechanisms is emotional eating. Emotional eating is when people use food as a way to deal with difficult feelings such as sadness, anger, or tension instead of to satisfy hunger. Some people suffer from uncontrollable binge eating. Meanwhile, dieters think they are failures when the pounds come back. The supporters of intuitive eating suggest that losing weight by eating too little and exercising a lot is not a long-term outcome. The idea is that we should eat by listening to the internal signals from our body. The research suggests that intuitive eaters binge eat less, because if you deprive yourself of all the tasty things, or if you don't get enough energy, you create a sense of scarcity around food. It can intensify your cravings. Your desire to eat a forbidden piece of pie will become so strong, and then you may eat 3 pieces at once. If you don't deprive yourself of anything, forbidden foods lose their appeal. You know you can always grab it if you feel like you want to, so you will lose the now or never feeling. Have you ever questioned if you're actually hungry or not? Because food is always available, we learn to satisfy everything with food. Everyone recognizes a growling stomach. but we often do not listen well to our belly when it's full. External signals from the environment can be very strong. Seeing other people eat, for example, encourages us to eat, just like sadness or stress, which makes us eat emotionally. We all get tempted by the smells and sights of street food, restaurants and snack bars. It seems like a battle, listening to your body while that body is immersed in the environment with streets everywhere. So we have to break the habit of eating in response to everything and relearn what our bodies are actually telling us. Adherents of the intuitive eating theory think you can get better at it. Research shows that people who practice mindfulness learn to recognize their hunger feeling better than the control group. So understanding of hunger and fullness is the key. If you eat something tasty such as a pizza, do you still eat even if you're already full? Feelings of satisfaction or fullness are more difficult to learn, but you can train yourself. Eating slowly will help. The advice is to take breaks from time to time during your meal and check how the food tastes and what your current hunger level is. Are you still eating? In any case, you make that choice consciously. Intuitive eating is possible if we look at the eating style of young children. Infants do this naturally. They cry when they are hungry, they drink and stop when they are full. At the age of 5, messages from our food culture start to influence our eating behavior. Well-intentioned rules by parents to finish all of their food, providing pressure to eat, can entail a risk of disrupted eating behavior. Or if a parent tightly controls or eliminates palatable foods like sweets and treats. They label foods like candy or chips as forbidden foods and make them scarce. Using food restriction on a regular basis can cause children to lose their sense of hunger and fullness. They may overeat when those limited foods become available. The forbidden fruit becomes enormously attractive. How do you teach your child to be an intuitive eater? The advice is to let children choose, but don't comment on what or how much they should eat. It's also important as a parent to be a good role model. So don't call chocolate bad and don't complain about your own body or weight. The idea of intuitive eating is to impose no restrictions. It's about finding the balance between physical hunger and taste hunger. If you are hungry, it's best to take something nutritious. If you are in the mood for something sweet afterwards, fine. If it is a conscious choice to have a piece of chocolate and if you really like it, there is nothing wrong with that. Denying it to yourself will only increase the attraction. But especially for people who have been on a diet, it is important to keep regular fixed eating moments. It is very natural to eat in the morning. You will then have used up some of your stored sugars. And if you really dislike breakfast, also okay. But be prepared for what is coming. If you are going to have a long meeting, eat something, even if you are not hungry. Otherwise, an hour later, you will attack the cookies on the conference table. It takes a lot of practice to be able to rely on cues of hunger and satiety again. And one succeeds faster than the other. People who have been on a diet for years in a kind of starvation modus, or if someone has had an eating disorder such as anorexia, have disrupted eating signals. regaining contact with the body takes much longer. Mindfulness is used as a tool to learn to eat more mindfully. In my opinion, this is one of the most powerful strategies used by the intuitive eating model. But how can you do it? You can begin by stopping to check social media during your lunch and focus on what you feel and taste while eating. Observe with curiosity as you concentrate on color, shape, texture, and size. Ask yourself if there is anything else that you notice, sense, or feel. Because our brain takes about 20 minutes to register fullness, many of us overeat. Slowing down lets your body catch up to your mind. Sitting down at the table to eat instead of inhaling your food, chewing each bite many times, or putting your fork down between bites is a great start. But it is not just about learning to listen to inner signals, but also to face your fears. It's okay to feel scared about starting a new journey. A change is not easy most of the time. Some will worry about what others think of them, or you will worry about gaining too much weight instead, or that you will start eating your forbidden foods and never stop. What I like about intuitive eating is the idea to learn to respect your body, letting go of the ideal picture. You learn to discover what suits you personally and what feels good for you. There are no strict restrictions, but it's all about finding a balance. But I also think intuitive eating is not for everybody. It is not suitable for people who keep in the back of their minds the strong desire to lose weight. That doesn't go together. Building a good relationship with food is personal and different for everyone. One person wants to make peace with food, the other wants to no longer use food as a coping mechanism for problems. Intuitive eating can be an option for those interested in shifting away from strict dieting rules in favor of a different approach. The research on intuitive eating is promising, and its effects on psychological well-being, weight, and improved body image. However, the limited sample sizes of most of the studies warrants further research and discussion. If you want to know more about mindfulness, watch this video and this one on how your diet affects mental health. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and share this video with your friends. Thank you very much for staying with me. See you next time.